or two, but it had that feeling of a big game.
What happens when in these games you actually... Remember when Steven Gerrard used to play against Lampard and the game would end up like a stalemate?
Cancelling each other out.
Lampard was frightened of Gerrard getting the back page headlines, so he'd mark him and track him all the way into the box.
Is that what you think
closing
it was?
Down. They have individual battles over the pitch because they're competitors, they're top players, and the biggest thing they've all got is they're all winners, all them players that play at that level, and they don't want their rivals getting the better of them individually. So the manager would say, win your individual battles all over the pitch. So they cancel each other out because they don't want to, they track each other all the way back. They close each other. They don't take chances. They don't. Probably Lampard never made as many runs forward when he played against Gerrard in case they lost the ball and Gerrard got the ball and scored the other end. So they end up all over the pitch. That happens.
Anything on Mo Salah? Can we decipher anything about what he's going through already this season? He's obviously not reaching the heights that everyone expects him to be, but it is still relatively early.
It is early, yes. I mean, when you have a season like he did last season, if you don't back it up, then people will ask questions. That's normal. His numbers, his stats last season were just ridiculous. They were up there with the best, but to be the best and to be one of the best, you have to back it up and do it again. And at the moment, he's having an okay season. He's scored an okay amount of goals, but he's not where he was last season. And for Liverpool, if they want to win the title, then they're going to need Mo Salah to probably get 30 Premier League goals this season.
At the moment, the only way I can describe it is when you're on a goal-scoring run, everything's crystal clear. You get through, someone puts you through on the halfway line, you pick your head up, the ball goes out with your feet properly, you pick your head up, you can see a gap to the goalkeeper's left hand, and you can see it clear. You slot it, goal. When you haven't scored for 5 games, that becomes a blur, a little bit of a blur. You don't see a gap. You then need the goalkeeper to help you out by making a decision, like coming out, diving at your feet so you can go round him. But when you've got to do it yourself, you've got to make the first move. You don't see it as clear. You don't expect the ball to come to you in the box. You hope it comes instead of expecting it. And once you score a goal, the belief comes back.
Yeah, he probably needs a couple of tap-ins or one to come off his shin because
Yeah.
a lot of his goals last season were outstanding. A lot of them were like Dean said, cutting him from the left and sublime finishes. And you're not gonna produce 20, 25 of those in a season. You need to get your tap-ins and those goals from 6 yards. And at the moment, he's not getting them, but I'm sure he's going to get a lot of goals this season. He'll score 20 plus.
And don't forget the phone lines are open for you to have your say. 08717 223344 is the number to call us on. 81089 is the text number, or you can tweet us, of course, at Talk Sport. Liverpool fans, are you worried about your current form? That's 4 games without a win. And Manchester City, is that 2 points dropped? You could have won that had MAHREZ scored the penalty. Has Pep now figured out how to play against Klopp as well? That's something we're going to ask both Ryan and Dean a little bit later. But you're listening to the final word here on Talk Sport.
Where else on the radio can you bring together business news, balance sheets, and a bold?
You see a lot of penalty takers now side-footing it to kind of take the keeper out of the equation, if you know what I mean. Do you not think it's a more safer... If you're going to go down the middle, I think you see Harry Kane do it. Gylfi Sigurdsson does it quite a bit to kind of side-foot it, so then it gives the keeper time to dive out the way. Because in the past, when forwards or penalty takers have drilled it and hit it that hard, the keeper's still diving, and the amount of times you see a keeper with a trailing leg actually save it.
I took one for Aston Villa against Man United in the FA League Cup final, and we were 2-1 up, and there was minutes to go. Canchelskis handled it, got sent off. Les Sealey was in goals, and the state of the game was there was 2 minutes to go, and I thought, if I score this penalty, we've won. So I'm thinking what Les Sealey was thinking. He's got to guess left or right. He can't afford to stand still.
Yeah.
Because there's no time left.
Yep.
In the first 5 minutes, he can stand still and gamble. I've seen you take penalties before, and I know you hit a few down the middle, so I'm going to gamble and stand still. But in the stage of the game, if you don't dive with 2 minutes to go, people are going to say, why have you not dived? So I tried to hit it down the middle. But you're right. You know when you ping the ball to each other before the game? I tried to hit it at that pace.
Yeah.
Because if you smash it, like you say, he hasn't got time to get out the way. And you hit his shins or his feet.
It's actually a difficult finish as well. A lot of the time you see it drag it and kind of get over it, don't they? Either that or like MAHREZ did and get under it.
Yeah. Well, I imagine that I'm just clipping a ball on your chest. 20 yards away.
Yeah.
You just just floating it onto your chest. So there's
So-
not enough pace.
Did he dive?
He dived the wrong way. It went in. We won.
Job done. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more then about the game at Anfield. First of all, let's focus on Liverpool. As you said, Ryan, it's 4 games now without a win. Are they stuttering a little bit?
I don't know. I don't think so. No. When I think of the teams they played a Chelsea team in the cup, which they lost to, but then they went and earned a fantastic point at Stamford Bridge. The Napoli game was disappointing. I watched a lot of that game, and they fully deserved to lose. They weren't good enough. It could have been a couple more as well, but tonight's not a bad result for them. They've kept a clean sheet against Man City. I know it's at home, and they would have probably liked to have got the 3 points and really laid down a marker and said, look, we're going to win the league this year. But it wasn't to happen. But I think they'll be happy. I think if you would have said to Klopp at the start of the game and the Liverpool players, would you take a draw? I think they would have probably said yes. Mm-hmm. It's kept them top. I know it's brought a couple of others into it as well, but it's kept them top. And that psychological advantage of not letting your direct opponents get one over on you is big.
So mentally, it's still a good thing for Liverpool to come away with a point.
Yeah, I think Liverpool and City. Same with City. Like I said, they've lost quite a few games to Liverpool in recent history, and to go and keep a clean sheet at Anfield, it had the feeling of a massive game. And how many times in the past have we seen United, Chelsea 0-0s and get decided by 1 goal? That MAHREZ moment could have been that moment, that 1-0. And these big games can be cagey at times. And I think both teams were wary and respectful of the other teams. I think they both didn't open up as much as they usually do, but
now, is that down to nerves? What do you think that would be?
No, I think it's respect. I think it's respect. When you look at Liverpool's front three, they can hurt you, and the same with City as well. So I think both teams had the utmost respect for the other's attacking threat, and sometimes that can pan out and be a 0-0. When you think of City and Liverpool, you think of free-flowing football, all-out attack, pressing, but at times today, I think both teams kind of suffered a little bit for little periods of 5 or 10 minutes where they didn't want to open up, they didn't want to take risks, and like I said, I think that just goes to show that both teams were happy with the point in the end. It
is 2 points dropped for City, but as you pointed out, Ryan, previously they'd lost 3 times to Liverpool last season. So has Pep, or is this unfair to suggest this already, but has Pep sort of worked out how to play against Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp?
Well, maybe he would have learnt. You never stop learning as a manager or a player, so maybe he's learnt a little bit from last season. But Liverpool's 4 games without a win. If you look at it, PSG, they were brilliant against PSG. Then they've gone Chelsea in the cup. But
were they brilliant against PSG?
Yeah.
Because PSG weren't that great though.
Well, they made them look bang average.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, I think they were just too quick and sharp for them. Different league. I think PSG playing in the French league showed, whereas Liverpool in this Premier League every week, it's a yard quicker, and I thought they caught PSG out. Then they played Chelsea in the cup. They made 8 changes, and Chelsea made 8 changes. They were obviously, no. I don't like to say it, but the most important thing was the league game. They both looked at it that way, and then the league game they got a good point at Chelsea, which is always a good point, and it's always Napoli. They didn't play very well, but it was a great goal they scored from at the end. I thought the way they broke down the right and the ball went across the face, it was a great cross. I mean, last minute of the game, 2 minutes to go. So that wasn't a great performance. And then today's against Man City, it's a good point. So it's not as if you've played, no disrespect, West Ham, Wolves and not beat them. They've played top teams there, and you could say they're undefeated in 4. Without, he would have looked at them results and thought, "Whoa, that's a tough run of games."
Napoli, so.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, sorry, I don't count that.
And lost to Chelsea in the cup.
Yeah, but that don't count either. The cup match. They're undefeated with 4. Just call it that. No,
that's interesting way of looking at it.
But they're doing all right. I think what you said, Ryan, you're right. They're not, the front 3 are not actually bang on fire, but a bit of respect from the opposition, a bit more respect than last season, probably.
Mm-hmm. So there's no reason for anyone to be worried about Liverpool. Bear in mind they had such a great start to the season, but it seems things aren't quite working out for them at the moment.
No, of course not. You can't be worried about Liverpool. Liverpool Liverpool finished fourth last season. People are forgetting that. They're not suddenly going to run away with the league off the back of signing a couple of players. What those signings and that intent done was make them contenders, because last seasons and the last few seasons they've not been contenders for the title, but now they are. So don't expect too much of Liverpool. Don't expect them to go and win the league by 10, 15 points, because that's not going to happen.